All right, we're rolling.
Hey guys, today we're going to learn how to make an igloo. An igloo is one of the hardest things to make, so most groups shouldn't even try to attempt it unless you have all day. But hopefully we're going to give you a few pointers to make it easy. We have hiked in from the car, not too far, and we've been looking for an area that's more or less flat with no trees above us to block out the sun, because we want to have kind of a nice warm area here today to work in. And the first thing that you have to do is find the snow that is the right kind of snow to make an igloo. For an igloo, the snow has to be packable. You have to be able to take it and push it together and make building blocks out of it. Luckily here today, the snow is just about right and we're not going to have to do a lot. But if the snow isn't right, what you have to do is walk around with your snowshoes and pack it down. And make a big enough area that you can dig in later, kind of like a quarry. And once you pack it down, then let it sit for an hour, go over and have your lunch, talk for a while, and an hour later you should be able to come back and find snow that's very packable that you can turn into blocks, building blocks for your igloo. Now the Inuits make these very precise igloos. They can cut big blocks of ice and snow and build these big mammoth kind of buildings or igloos, but we're not going to do that. We're not smart enough to do that. We're just going to try to do something basic and simple. Okay, so the first thing is you want to find the right kind of snow and then kind of figure out where your quarry is going to be. Now your quarry needs to be exactly right next to where your igloo is, because you don't want to have to carry these big blocks of ice and snow very far. And so we have blocked out this big square area here. This is going to be our quarry. We're going to spend some time digging out blocks using a saw and some shovels. And once we have a few blocks, then we're going to begin to construct the igloo. And I'll tell you how that's going to go when we get to that point. Okay. Now I'm lifting the block and I'm putting it over here with the other one. And you have to eyeball it a little bit. It has to pretty much line up with the others in terms of height and such. So this is going to have to be cut off. And then I take some snow and just fill in the loose spots right here to make everything a little bit stronger. This is called chinking. And just spend some time with the snow and chink it up. And there you go. Now, you got to be careful when you're building this, because you want to be moving inward as fast as you can be moving. Because if you keep building up, then these blocks are not going to come together until 6 or 7 foot off the ground. And it's really hard to put blocks that high. And so you're going to be taking your saw eventually and trimming this down so that the inside is a little bit lower than the outside, so that your blocks kind of lean towards the middle. So you want everything perfect, especially on this foundation, this first row of the big blocks here. So what I've done is I've built or dug a square hole in the snow in my quarry area. This has got to be big enough for me to stand in and big enough for me to use the saw. So then I can throw my shovel over here and jump in my hole and use the saw to start cutting blocks that are going to be the walls of the igloo. So I've taken a couple of blocks out already. Now the key is to make these blocks square. If the blocks aren't square, then the foundation of your igloo is not going to be solid enough to hold all the weight that's going to be coming up. And so this block in this snow is just perfect to be at about 24 inches across. And then I want to make it about 12 inches wide and about a little more than 12 inches deep. So I take my saw and I saw in a straight line like this. It has to be straight. And when you're working in this snow, you've got to do everything pretty quickly, because as soon as you stop cutting, everything freezes up again. So you cut and you cut, and then you measure across, and you want to make this square. It's got to be about 12 inches. Cut across to make your block. Make sure that it's completely cut. And then you go down and cut off the bottom here. So you push this saw in flat and cut across. You've got to be a little bit careful because sometimes the snow is really heavy and you don't want the blocks to be too heavy. So then you put your hands underneath here and you try to loosen the block. And if you have to recut it, you have to recut it. It's starting to freeze up on me. It's pretty cold out here today. So now I have this perfect block that I'm just going to lift up and put over here.